Are you a Destro Warlock struggling to perform on Mythic Mugzee? Or maybe you're performing pretty well, but want to know what you could be doing better? But who am I to tell you how to play? I'm 3 Fates, and I just got my first cutting edge and started pushing Mythic Plus keys this season. Even though I struggled to get the first 4 bosses down on Mythic last year, this week I managed to get a rank 1 on one of the hardest bosses of the raid. Let me walk you through the results of my research, diving through logs and videos to improve. Huge credit goes to the Warlock community at large that I learned from. This guide will cover gear, talents, and in-fight decision making. It will not cover basic Destro Warlock rotation. If you want a general Destro Warlock guide, leave a comment and I'll put something together. Now let's get into it. Before even thinking about the encounter, we need to talk about 2 major points: gear and talents. For gear, you can see my character stats unbuffed in Dornigal on screen. Standard enchants with Authority of the Depths on weapon and Void Ritual on helm. The big question here on trinkets, if you have access to House of Cards and Eye of Khazan, is kill time. And kill time has gone down to the point where I'd say House of Card wins out, especially if you're getting under 5 minutes. The other big question is what to run on the new belt. After the nerf to charge bolts, stat belts have begun simming better, but which one? Simming for my character, the versatility belt sims the highest, but as of testing, there's an issue where Hellcaller Destro is losing stacks of the buff faster than it should be from Wither Ticks, so I went for the second highest simming belt, which was Crit. With gear sorted, it's time for talents. For Destro, we've been able to play a single build for most fights this tier, swapping between Havoc and Mayhem. Taking that basic build, we choose Havoc for this fight, and I'll go over all the Havoc timings and targets during the encounter. Then there's one fight-specific point that you might not have noticed if you didn't look carefully, and that is Flashpoint. We take this point from reduced Conflag cooldown to get a 6% haste buff as long as we're hitting an 80% or higher health target, which we'll be able to keep up pretty much the entire fight. Okay, that's enough homework. How do I actually fight the boss? Alright, now we're in the boss room. We're fully buffed, we got the Fell Hunter out for kicks in the jail. Assuming you're going in the jail, pre-place your escape port. Mine's back here. Then place a gateway here, and we'll talk about when we use that later. Finally, we're starting the boss. The pull timer goes up, and our first few casts of this boss are very scripted. Precast Soulfire into Infernal, Malevolence, Shadowburn, and Conflag. This should ensure the first Electroshocker has landed and we can Havoc it. This is how we get up our Flashpoint for 6% haste. I don't bother putting up Wither right away since I expect a Soulfire proc early in the opener. I use my pod in the opener here thinking our kill would be over 5 minutes, and I'd get a second pod. If your kill is under 5 minutes, you should probably use your pod during Lust. At this point, we're into our regular rotation, making sure to spend fragments aggressively during Havoc and cooldowns to avoid overcapping on shards. There's a lot of movement on this fight, and the core principle is to prepare Conflag and Shadowburn charges so that you aren't losing cast while moving. Here you can see me doing this while soaking bomb fragments. I end up targeted by the first group soak, meaning I have to run to the wall and I won't have charges to last me the whole way, so I refresh a Wither early in the downtime. If you don't have the soak here, you can snipe a Wither onto the Rocketeer while it's flying nearby using boss frames and a mouse over macro. Once the soak finishes, the Rocketeer lands at low health. We Havoc it and lean into the cooldown reduction on Shadowburn from it being under 30%. It's worth noting that damage to this ad counts on logs, along with damage to the goons, but even when the shields are broken, Electroshocker damage does not count towards your parse. Remember to refresh your Wither on the Electroshocker. Not only does this give Flashpoint, but one Wither gives between 1 to 2 soul shards depending on crits. Because I'm assigned to the far jail, as soon as we trigger Dirtside, I begin moving towards my spot on metal while I'm conflagging or shadow burning. This way I don't lose any casts. Before the jail lands, refresh Wither on Mugzee so you don't drop stacks. When in jail, if you're doing first kick, I recommend kicking earlier in the cast in case your Fell Hunter decides to take his time joining you. Otherwise, dodge the frontals with instant casts, and you can teleport out as soon as the jailbreak cast starts. Once you're out of jail, refresh your Withers and get next to the gateway we placed before pull. If you're targeted by the finger gun, ignore the gateway and run straight towards the far shocker until you're in range to Wither it. Remember to use a defensive. If you're not targeted, As soon as Finger Gun selects someone, take the gateway and you'll be in position to wither the Far Shocker. Havoc the Far Shocker as it'll live longer, and because Shocker damage is excluded on logs, we should put all damage into Mugzee. Your cooldowns will come up shortly after the Havoc if you use them on pull. Send them immediately. Now we have the second set of bomb pops. Make sure you're using defensives as needed, and instant casts whenever we have to move. With the second group soak, another Rocketeer spawns. Get a wither on it before it lands. Don't forget to stay out of the soak if you did the first one. We have the Rocketeer as it lands, and begin movement over to the dirt side. In my kill, we phase the boss and enter intermission here. If your guild is lacking damage and still has to do the set of jails here, don't forget to move your port to escape. This intermission is movement hell. Before he begins charging, refresh your withers on the shockers. As long as you have one up, you're okay. Use defensives proactively as needed. I usually keep Burning Rush up for the entirety of the intermission, so give extra attention to your health, and Hellstone or Pot if you get low. Our Havoc comes up during this intermission, so apply it to the close shocker as soon as possible. Mechanically, this is the hardest part of the fight by far. If you choose to cast at the wrong time, you'll end up stunned in a circle or dead to one of the cones. If you don't cast at all, you'll lose a ton of damage. Near the end of the intermission, your Havoc will be coming back up. Apply it to the shocker immediately. My guild baits bombs onto the dirt side as the intermission ends, and then moves together onto the metal side. Stay near fire for the frost spike, and remember to place your final port here to escape the last jail. As soon as spikes go out, if you're targeted, go behind a bomb. Otherwise, begin moving towards your jail. Remember to refresh your wither on boss before entering jail. You can play this jail just like the first one. Kick a little early if you need to make sure your pet's in the jail. Otherwise, instant cast to avoid the frontals, and teleport out as soon as possible. Once you're out, if you've been Havocing on cooldown, you'll get Havoc up in time to put it on the final Rocketeer for some extra damage as the boss is dying. It's possible you could get more value out of saving the last Havoc we did on a Shocker to get more uptime on this Havoc on the Rocketeer, especially if you delayed any of your earlier Havocs. And that's it! Did you get a rank 1? Unfortunately, nothing in this video is some new secret, and this is what all the top parsers are already doing. You can do everything in this video perfectly, and you still need to play your rotation well and get a little lucky on procs to push yourself above the rest. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, leave a like. Let me know which parts of this video you found useful, or which parts you think could be improved. This was my first time making a guide, so I'm sure there are things I could do better. If you want to see more boss guides like this, or general class guides, let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe.